If you ever go camping at night at such a hilly place where for miles there is no human, no light, and while lying in the tent, you suddenly feel someone walking outside, hear the sound of bones chewing, and see footprints 3 feet deep in the snow, then think what your condition would be at that moment. Stories like these are shared by my subscribers to me, and believe me, not everyone will have the courage to listen to this story till the end. If you are listening to this story alone, it is better to recite prayers and build a protective shield around you, because some incidents are not just for listening, they start affecting the atmosphere too. Let's move towards our stories. My name is Sayyid Zaman Haider, and I belong to Tehsil Jamala of Faisalabad. Our family is not an ordinary family. Regarding occult sciences, spiritual knowledge, and unseen creatures, whatever I know is not from books but inherited. My father, grandfather, maternal grandfather, uncle, all were experts in this knowledge. In the house, these things never felt strange. I have heard since childhood that there are some creatures that live with us but are not visible, and sometimes they become visible too. I do not claim that I know everything, but I can say for sure that I can sense it. When the atmosphere changes, when something else is near us. This was the reason that when we planned to go to the northern areas, I had a strange longing in my heart. Sightseeing is fine, but in the mountains, there is always something else. We were 4 people. The car was full blast, monsoon weather, the humidity of rain, light fog on the road, leaving Chakadara. The atmosphere was ordinary, laughing, planning in Kashmir. Uncle's house was the last stop. The journey to Islamabad was peaceful. Now, we stayed at Uncle's house, met, ate food. From there, Uncle's son also joined us. Now we were 5. We decided not to book a hotel. With the heart desires, we will set up camp. This was the real adventure. Muri, Narwan, Kakhan, everywhere was beautiful. But I was feeling that as if we are going up. The atmosphere is not the same. The silence of the mountains is sometimes heavier than noise. When we reached Babusar top, the weather had changed. Cold wind, clouds had descended. Till there, everything was normal. No unusual incident happened. The real story starts from there. When we turned from Babusar top towards Sri Pai, we parked our car at a spot. The path ahead could only be traversed by a jeep. There was no road, just a path of stones. On one side, the mountain wall. On the other side, a steep abyss. It was evening time. The sun was setting. The sky was turning from orange to black. The sound of the jeep was echoing back from the mountains. We were all silent. Don't know why the music was turned off too. After about an hour's journey, I saw it for the first time. On the edge of a distant peak, right near the abyss, a woman-like shadow was standing there. It was not completely clear. Neither the face was visible, nor the details of the dress. Just a black figure standing facing us. I immediately removed my gaze, looked again. It was still there. My heart beat fast. I didn't let anything show on my face. I knew if I had made a sound, there would be panic in the car. And panic on that path means an accident. I slowly started reciting verses. The driver cousin immediately sensed it. He looked at me from the side and asked in a low voice, "Are you reciting something?" I said, keeping my eyes forward, "You just focus on the car." Now I observed that shadow wasn't just standing as the jeep moved forward. It was moving forward too. But it wasn't walking. It just appeared at the next stop. First there was one, then I saw it wasn't alone. Two more shadows. Then some small stature, one like children. Then male figures. In total about 10 shapes. They were all some distance ahead of us. Neither were they looking back, nor running. Just as if showing the way. Inside the jeep, there was a strange silence. No one said anything, but the atmosphere had changed. The driver's hand had hardened on the steering. The sound of breath was audible. The road was now bad. The jeep was jerking. At one place, it felt like the tire would slip, but it wasn't saved. I was continuously reciting. There was a question in my heart. If these were bad creatures, they would have done something by now. But they had just come as we neared Suripai. They disappeared one by one, just as if they were never there. We stopped the jeep on the side. Everyone got off. Darkness was deepening all around. Light snow was glistening on the distant mountain. I looked for the last time at the spot where the shadow was standing. There was nothing. The atmosphere was not empty. There was silence. But a living silence. We decided to set up camp. We had no idea that such a test was about to begin. We parked the jeep at a relatively flat spot. In front was an open field. Behind was a slope. On the right side, at some distance, was a deep ravine. There was the coldness of a snow in the air, although we were not in a completely snowy area. The plains of Siripai were spread far and wide, but at that time, darkness was descending rapidly. We took out a large tent. It was enough for 4 people. The ground was hard. It took time to hammer the nails. The echo of every blow on the hammer hitting the mountains and coming back created a strange resonance. It felt like someone was listening from afar. To light a fire, we gathered stones, took out coal, lit the lighter, and for a moment the flame flared up and was immediately suppressed by a gust of wind. The second time the fire caught, the light of the flames were falling on our faces, and in that light, the mountain looked more like walls. There was no one else there beside us. At least that's what we felt. The barbecue started. We put chicken on. The laughter started again, but it wasn't natural, as if everyone was trying to be normal on purpose. I was continuously looking forward. The wind would suddenly stop sometimes, then blow with a jolt. The sound of stones rolling came from afar. One of us said, "Maybe some animal." I didn't say anything. When we had eaten, we threw the remaining bones aside. This was the moment that I replayed in my mind again and again, and every time I thought that perhaps this was our biggest mistake. The bones fell just a short distance from the camp. We sat inside the tent again. Outside, the bonfire was burning. The light of the flames was creating dancing, shadowy figures on the tent cloth. After 15 to 20 minutes, a sound came of bone being chewed. We went silent. At first, we thought maybe wood was breaking, but then the sound came again. This time from there, as if someone is breaking a hard thing with teeth. I slowly lifted the curtain of the tent a little. In the medium light of the fire, those same shadows were present. Now they were not blurry. I was seeing many shapes clearly. Women, some children, some men. They were all sitting in at the place where we had thrown the bones. Their hands were moving, and with every movement, the sound of chewing bones were coming. A tingling sensation ran through my body. I closed the tent. I didn't say anything, but my cousins saw in my eyes that something was not right. Suddenly, a light thud sound came from the jeep side, as if someone jumped inside. Then another, and my cousin whispered, "Has someone touched the car?" I didn't answer, but I knew the car wasn't being touched. Someone was playing inside it. From behind the tent came a sound like footsteps. Light grass, then one cousin immediately turned back and looked. The tent cloth was moving, as if a shadow had passed from there. I intensified the recitations. At the moment, the wind stopped, the sound of the fire diminished, and the sound of chewing bone became clearer. Then a voice came, neither complete male nor impossible female, just a resonant whisper like,
"Come out. We want to talk."
This time, the voice came from right in front of the camp. My heartbeat quickened. I looked at my cousin. He was completely serious. I slowly said, "I'm going out. You come with me. The rest stay inside." We both lifted the curtain and stepped outside. The scene outside had changed. The fire was not now medium, but the light was enough that we could see them. They were standing in front of us, an old man and a white beard, but a face unusually clear, and an old woman, 2 young women and 4 children, and a boy about 16 to 17 years old. Everyone's outside clothes were white, but it didn't look like an ordinary cloth, as if there was a slight glow in that. They greeted us, I answered. Their voice was normal, no fear, no fire, no harshness, but there was an inhuman peace in their eyes. An elder asked, "Why have you come here?" I gave a simple answer. "For sightseeing, we are camping." They looked at us. Then the elder said, "We have been appointed for your protection." My cousin immediately looked at me. I asked, "By whom?" He answered, "By the order of Badshah Ji." This name was unfamiliar to me. I asked again, but he only said this much: "This place is not safe. There is a power present here that is even greater than us. You should leave here immediately." The wind started blowing again. One of those children looked towards a jeep and smiled. The smile was not completely like an ordinary child, but for the first time, the fear in my heart decreased, but the confusion increased. If these were bad creatures, they would have caused direct harm. They were warning us. I asked, "If you are appointed for our protection, then what is the problem?" The elder pointed towards the upper side of the mountain. Up there is the one whose power is greater than ours. We looked up. It was dark, but the atmosphere had become heavy. My cousin whispered, "We should go back." I went silent. Those white-clad people stepped back one step. Then slowly they started dissolving in the fog. Neither did they turn nor did they walk away. They faded in that light and disappeared. We both stood there for a long time. The mountains didn't feel the same as before. We came back inside the tent. I told everything. The cousin immediately said, "We are leaving right now." But I had a stubbornness. I said, "If they are protecting us, what is there to fear?" But in a corner of my heart, a question was echoing. If that power is greater than them, then what is it? There was silence inside the tent. But it wasn't ordinary silence. Everyone was awake. Someone was lying down. Someone was sitting straight. But the same question was resolving in everyone's mind. If they were for our protection, then what was the real danger? The fire had almost extinguished. Only red embers remained, which glimmered occasionally. Shadows were no longer moving on the tent cloth, but the atmosphere had become heavier than before. My cousin said slowly, "Zaman, brother, the heart doesn't feel right." I answered, "Just sleep for a while. We will leave in the morning." But inside I wasn't sure myself. Sometime later, we came out of the tent. The wind had become even colder. Light frozen snow was visible in the distance. We thought, let's walk a little ahead and see. Just for a few minutes, all five moved forward together. The ground was first dry, then it started getting soft, then the snow started. This was not a completely snowy area, but pieces of snow were present. And I was walking ahead. Suddenly, I stopped. In front of my steps, there was a deep mark in the snow. I bent down to look. It was like a human foot, but not human. The length was about 3 feet. The depth was such that the snow had sunk deep inside, as if someone or something very heavy stood here. My cousin standing behind asked, "What happened?" I gestured with my hand. Everyone came forward. When they saw that mark, for a moment no one could speak. Then we looked up. That mark was not one. It was in a row. Every step was about 4 feet apart from the previous one, as if the existence of some unusual body was slowly climbing towards the mountains. We started following the footsteps. The heartbeat was now clearly audible. The wind suddenly stopped. The silence of the mountains became complete. No insect, no stone, no sound. We moved a few steps forward and we saw it. On the peak above the mountains, amidst the darkness, a very large black shadow was standing. It was many times taller than an ordinary human. Its body was not clear, but the shape of the head and shoulders was clearly visible. Then it bowed its head slightly and its eyes lit up. Such red eyes as if truck headlights are on in the night. Constantly glowing, it was looking straight at us. My cousin involuntarily said, "Oh God!" My throat went dry. I tried to start reciting, but the voice remained inside. But that shadow wasn't moving, just standing. But its presence was felt down on the ground. Suddenly a light rustling happened under the snow, as if the earth took breath. My cousin held my arm. "Run!" This word was enough. We all turned and ran. The snow was slippery and one cousin's foot slipped. He fell. We picked him up. No one had the courage to look back. But I looked back for a moment. That shadow was still there, but its eyes were brighter than before. It felt as if I had taken a step forward. We reached the jeep. Everyone was panting. The driver immediately sat inside, turned the key. The jeep didn't start the first time. My heart almost stopped. Turned the key the second time. The engine made a loud noise and started. The jeep turned quickly, and one side was a ravine, the other side a mountain. But at that time, fear was dominant over caution. We started descending downwards. I looked back through the glass on the mountains above. Those red eyes were still visible. Then suddenly they disappeared. But the fear didn't end. About 15 to 20 minutes later, we felt as if something was running behind the jeep. With the sound of the engine, another heavy resonance was audible. The driver increased the speed further. The path was dangerous. At one spot, the wheel barely saved from slipping off the edge. We all held our breath together. The words of that white-clad elder was echoing in my mind. This power is greater than even us. After about 2 hours of continuous travel, we reached the spot where the actual car was parked. There were some other people too. Seeing people for the first time, it felt that we were safe. We got off the jeep. My hands were shaking. I looked towards the mountains for the last time. The darkness was complete. No red eyes were visible. But to this day, I cannot say with certainty if it was gone from there or was it just letting us go. So that was my story. Hope you will definitely share it on your channel. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us.